We are live. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Mad LiberTEA party, where up is down, left is right, and the rules don't matter because we're all mad here. And I like madness with friends and everything. So today we have a guest with us. Oh no, the picture was stuck. We have a guest with us. Everybody say hi to Dan. Dan, would you like to say hi to everybody?
Hey,
Um, Dan is running for governor of Texas right now, and he's preparing a they're doing a rally in Austin, which is why I brought him on here. First, I've got to say that the flyer itself has confused people a little bit because of the free healthcare thing that it says on it. Would you like to explain to them what it means so that they can stop reading in the back there?
yeah, it's exactly what it says. Free healthcare, except it's not like free like an adjective, like the healthcare is going to be free. It's free like free Julian Assange. So we're stuck in this system where we have healthcare, something that we depend on for our lives, is controlled by government, and of course, government is controlled by these massive pharma corporations. And that's really what this is. What this is intending to bring attention to. I know. So one of the reasons I went with the free healthcare thing is healthcare is a huge, huge issue, but mostly in the Democrat side. And so this is really kind of to grab their attention. But what's interesting about this is the plans that I have for healthcare. I've told them to so many Democrats, and they're like, "Yeah, that could work. That's cool." Because like ultimately, like you hear about these things like Medicare for all, right? And that's kind of
Yeah.
associated with free healthcare, right? Like everyone's like, oh yeah, we're all gonna get healthcare and it's gonna be free. Um, Really all that is, by the time you lay this plan out in front of people, is you have these extremely high prices, all because of government regulation, which are there to protect these big pharma, big healthcare monopolies. And because of those high prices, we can't afford it. And all that the Medicare for health, the Medicare for all does, all it does is it says, okay, we'll pay your ransom. We're going to steal from
Yeah.
somebody else to pay it, but we're going to pay your ransom. We're going to pay your high prices. And it never asks the question, why are the prices so damn high in the first place? And what can we do about it?
Yeah.
And I'm about fixing those
Exactly.
prices because ultimately we can all have the health care that Medicare for all is going to get us. But do you want to get that health care and still pay out so big pharma can profit? I mean, especially like we're talking about right now, people are buying this GameStop stocks, stonks,
It stonks.
stonks, game stonks. They're buying this stuff like, and they don't even care that they're losing money on it. They're just happy to see that it's going to crash these big like ridiculously mega corp trust funds
Hmm.
basically. And like there are plenty of people who are going to want to do that to healthcare too. Like this isn't about like let's make sure we can all get it, because that's what the Medicare for all promises to do. But it's still about extorting the crap out of us, and that's what we want to put an end to. We want to get the healthcare, but we don't want to do whatever magic number crap we have to do to make sure that those big pharma corporations get paid, because they have not earned that. They've extorted that.
Yeah. I like the idea of trying to reach out to the left with this kind of talk too. We were considering doing like a kind of a rally protest on tax day and and our attempts to reach out to the left were like what I came up with was like, so yes, you want to pay the taxes so that everybody can get the stuff, right? Well, they barely get anything because the government takes a huge cut off of the top of it before they hand the pennies to the everyman. And that's kind of like what you guys are taking out of the way at this rally. You're going to be offering insulin at like almost, it's almost giving it away, right? Like how
Yeah.
much is it?
It's
And how
so
much is it
normally if you
normally?
If you buy
Yeah.
it in the United States, it's normally $100 for a pen that lasts, depending on your circumstances, lasts for about a month. So $100 a month. If you were to drive across the border and buy it in Mexico, cash, it'll cost you $12. That's an 88% discount. But of course, it's illegal for somebody in Mexico to set up an online shop and say, hey, order it for $12 and we'll ship it to your house. That's illegal. It's illegal for someone to go buy a truck and say, hey, I'm going to load up a truck full of this stuff and bring it to the US and sell it at a discount. And of course they have, I'm sure they have like prescriptions and all this like ridiculous restrictions on how you can get it anyway. But it's all of these rules are in place. They say to protect us, but it's not. And this is the thing too. Like I always have to mention this because I know some people are going to be like, well, yeah, but they're probably protecting us because it's probably some bootleg Mexican insulin or something. No, the stuff is manufactured in the United States and exported to Mexico.
Yeah.
And it costs them like $3 to make it. So like they're not losing money by selling it to Mexico for $12 either.
Yeah, and it's not just like that across in Mexico. Like there are a lot of countries that are paying way less than we are for stuff that's made here. And I'm glad that you said that because like, a lot of people don't mention that. They don't drive that home, and it really it brings forth a lot of questions, So tell us about what you guys got planned in Austin. Like how's this going to work out?
So we're all going to show up at the Capitol around 11 o'clock. And we're going to have a few speakers there. I'm going to talk a lot about this issue, about all of the healthcare restrictions. And this is as shocking as this one thing is. There are so many other things I'm going to tell you guys about that are just going to blow your mind and be like, how can this be happening? This is America. And it doesn't matter if Trump's in charge. It doesn't matter if Biden's in charge. We're always facing the same problem, and none of these guys are going to fix it. Obama didn't fix it with his Affordable Care Act. Bush didn't fix it before that. It's always here. It's here to stay because these guys, they don't have that kind of power. But we're going to be talking about this. We're going to have some other speakers that are going to speak on all kinds of issues where government is interfering with us getting the medication we need, and that includes cannabis, psilocybin, all kinds of natural remedies. It's absolutely shocking some of the stuff that our government does. And of course, we don't know about any of this stuff because, as far as we know, they tell us the stuff on TV and we're like, oh, okay, well, yeah, they've got a vaccine coming. We're all going to be good.
Yeah,
it's nuts. I learned this one today. I just found this out. So remember a long time ago when COVID first started like popping up everywhere and they were like, we're working on the test. And they were talking about home testing kits. Yeah. You remember this?
Yeah.
Okay. They, for like the longest time, they were like, yeah, we're going to have these things. And there was a guy who finally made one that worked. Now, for the longest time, you know how like they've been over reporting the number of COVID deaths and everything. So the thing is, when they came up with their test, and this is the one you go and you get at the doctor's office, when they came up with this, what they said was, it's a sliding scale. It's not pass or fail, right? It's just like a number. And we want to know, it would be better for us to have false positives than for us to have false negatives, right? We don't want anybody walking around thinking they don't have it and they do. We'd rather have 1 million people walking around thinking they do have it and they don't. So this sliding scale, they totally skewed to make it look like everybody that took the test had it, almost everybody. And this is like, you hear about the guy from where was that? Somewhere in Africa. I want to say I don't remember where. He sent in a sample that he took from a goat, and he took a sample that he took from like a papaya or something, and he sent these in, and they both tested positive for COVID. Oh, so that's how they were doing this test. Now this guy came up with a do it yourself, like you don't have to jab yourself all the way in the nose with like this Q-tip, right? It was a 15-minute do it yourself at home test kit. And when he tried to get it approved, they said, well, there's too much margin of error. That first margin of error where the goat tested positive, that was acceptable. But this guy's do it at home kit was not acceptable. They told him it has to be absolute pass or fail, 100% accurate. And so months and months and months go by. He finally figured it out. He got this test working. The FDA approved it. You can now use this do it at home test, but you have to go to a doctor to get a prescription for it.
What the
What
fuck?
the fuck?
Oh my God. Like,
Jinx.
you're dead serious. You have to go out of your home to get the home test and you have to get a prescription for it.
If you're going to
How
go
are
to a
they,
doctor
why
to
even
get a
bother calling it a
prescription,
home test? Yeah, like just get a test there.
yeah, right? And you're going to have to pay the doctor like $100 for the visit. It's insane. And all they're trying to do is, and I don't know what the story is. I mean, for all we know, I'm going to put my conspiracy theory hat on for a second.
Uh-oh. I don't have my
There's some
tinfoil
guy
hat
that's
over here to
like,
protect me.
oh no, that test is too accurate. We can't have all these false positives. We can't have those go away. We're going to have to prevent people from taking this test. Let's make them require a prescription.
Yeah, or
Like,
something, you know. Oh my God, that's so
it's
crazy. Like
insane.
I'd heard about the home testing kit, but I didn't realize they were making people have a prescription for it. That's fucking
That's
awful. That's so bad.
it's terrible, man. It really is terrible. The lengths that they're going to, and it's. I mean, this is the thing, man. Like, what's the government's job in all this? Is it supposed to keep us safe? Is it supposed to give us accurate information? Like, what's its job? And everything that it does is extremely one-sided, right? Zimbabwe. I was gonna say Zimbabwe. A pawpaw fruit. So yeah, they go out of their way to make sure, and you can tell this. It's so obvious because when you watch the news, everything is so one-sided. Like, you hear all the benefits about the masks. Now they're saying wear 2 or 3 masks at a time. Like, are you fucking kidding me? I saw a
Yeah.
meme. This guy's got him out to here. You should now wear 6 feet worth of masks to maintain social distance.
Do you wear them?
It's
Do you wear the mask or do you rebel?
I yeah. I wear them like in some places, like when it's just like when I go to the grocery store down here in Mexico, just because like I'm not going to pick a fight. I probably couldn't win a debate in Spanish. But it's like you got to choose your battles, and that's a battle. Like, I know it's ridiculous. My wife is paranoid. She wears them everywhere, and I'm like, I'll debate with her. Like, no, this restaurant doesn't care. I'm not going to wear it. I'm not going to wear it as a walk across 10 feet to get to the table.
To get to the table, because then you can take it
Yeah,
off. If you're
an
eating,
outdoor
COVID
an
will not
outdoor
come for
restaurant,
you.
no less. Yeah, it's yeah. When you're
Because that
sitting
is the
down, it just floats
quarantine.
above your head.
Yeah, see, when I go to a place that I know is gonna make a big deal out of it, and I need to go in, I have this anonymous mask, the Guy Fawkes mask. It's
Yeah,
not a medical mask, and it's got like holes in front of the nose and the mouth, and I just like stick that on and go in. I've only ever had one person try to cause me problems with it, and they were so uncertain of themselves that they charged my friend their money before they said something to me. Like they thought we weren't gonna be like
wow.
cancel the whole fucking thing because we were like cancel it. We're
Yeah, I'm sure
leaving.
someone's done that to them before.
Well,
It's
I mean
nuts.
that's what happens. Like I thought it was really dishonest because like you could tell that they were like gearing up because they kept looking over at me and stuff. The thing is, we're surrounded by people at tables in this small ass place, and none of them are wearing masks because they're at the table too. And they sat there and they waited until they had charged somebody before because I think they thought we would just go along with it at that point. But I'm an asshole,
Yeah.
so I'm an
Well, let
asshole,
me
so it didn't work
let me
out.
ask you this. So we know what we're supposed to do to make sure we don't catch the coronavirus, right? We're supposed to wash our hands for 30 minutes
For
every
30
45
minutes.
minutes, and like they're supposed to wear 6 inches of medical grade mask and like all this stuff. What are you supposed to do if you think you have COVID?
I mean, you're supposed to go out and go to the doctor. Isn't that what you're supposed to do?
I don't
Like
know. Are you
typically,
supposed to call 911? Are you supposed to know which doctor to go to? Aren't there only some hospitals that are treating COVID patients because they don't want COVID patients at the non-COVID hospital?
what
Like
I
all this
thought
stuff,
was good here
nobody's
in
telling us what to
Arkansas.
do.
In Arkansas, they were really clear about it. Like here, they were like, call us at this special line if you think you have COVID, and we will send an ambulance to pick you up free of charge to bring you
Wow.
to the place where you can get tested. I thought that was pretty cool. Um, because everybody else didn't really have a setup plan like that that I could see. So at least
All
they
right.
tried to do something about it, but like that was just here where I am, so I don't know about everywhere else.
Well, and keep this in mind too. Most people who get it are asymptomatic, right? And even those who have mild symptoms don't need to go to a hospital. So why is it that the first thing they do is have you call an ambulance and take you to a hospital? Like, doesn't that seem like you're overreacting a little bit? And so what it turns out, and there was this doctor, she's been in several videos. I've seen her talk about this. She was actually one of the doctors that was talking in front of the Supreme Court um, about the cure. Like,
Yeah.
so hydroxychloroquine, and she mentioned another one in one of her more recent videos.
Isn't that the one
Um,
that's making people turn colors or something?
no, it's this is the one that they gave to me like it was candy just in case when I went to Africa.
Oh, okay.
They were
I
like
was
they were
like,
like, yeah, here's
it's
what you
not the
do.
conspiracy theory one. Okay. Because there was
Well,
like
no,
one that they, or are they saying
it's
it's a conspiracy?
yes, that's the thing. They're saying, and this was one I think somebody ate like they ate like a tablet, like a fish tank tablet or something like that, and it killed them. And they were saying because they thought it was this, but it's not. And
Right.
the reason that happened, I think, well, I don't know in that particular case, but like, here's the thing: you can't just go to the store and say, "I want hydroxychloroquine." You have to go to a doctor, and they have to prescribe it. And because of the regulations, and because of how doctors are being pressured right now, most doctors aren't going to give it to you for that, which is
Yeah.
stupid. Because if you go to a doctor and you say, "Hey, I'm going to Uganda," they're going to say, "Oh, here, take some hydroxychloroquine for your malaria." Oh, but I don't
Right.
have malaria. I haven't gone yet. Oh, it doesn't matter. 3 days before you come back, start taking them and take them for a week after you return, just in case. Just in case you get malaria. That's how dangerous it is. They give it to everybody and say, "Oh, just take it just in case." And
Yeah.
they've been prescribing it to people for like, I don't know, 50, 100 years so far. Nobody dies from it. And a lot of doctors are saying it is curing COVID-19. So
But
why
they don't
is
want
it
to
that
take
anybody
it
who
here.
even brings it up is like, nope, you're getting shut
You're,
down?
yeah, you're a conspiracy nut or something.
Yeah.
That's probably why I
I mean,
thought
they
it
did
was
it
a
when
conspiracy.
that was the one that Trump was like, "Oh, I heard this is working," because probably a doctor told him like, "Yeah, this is going to work." And then they were like, "Oh no, you can't talk about that."
Uh, I hate to say anything nice about that orange
Yeah, I know.
bastard, but
I know.
seriously, like I'm like I fucking hate that dude, but um, screw
Don't
it.
make
He's
me defend him.
don't make me agree with him. But like, I mean, also we don't want to like shoot ourselves in the foot just to be contrary, because like I occasionally do that just because somebody
Yeah,
has crossed the wrong line with me, but like I see a lot of people out there who will literally bend over backwards and do some really dumb stuff just to
yeah.
like, just to,
Trump says we should sniff glue. Let's do it.
yeah. Or Trump
Yeah,
says
dude.
we shouldn't sniff glue, so everybody else on the other side starts sniffing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know what to say about that stuff. But so
yeah.
you
No,
were
this was
saying that,
interesting. So,
oh, wait, what do you got?
so I went to go join a bunch of Texas Democrat groups on Facebook. Facebook
Right?
is dead to me now. I don't even know why I'm on there because it is just trash. But like
Well, yeah,
they've
they're
blocked
banning
me
all
so
the
bad
Liberty
from
people and stuff like
yeah.
that. I'm banned.
I don't even know why I'm
Did
in.
you know that? I got
But
banned. The whole MLTP staff got banned Even the dude who has never posted. There's a dude who is just there to watch the page, and they banned him, and he's never even posted.
It's nuts, man. But so I was trying to join some Democrat groups because I was like, hey, we're talking about healthcare, and I know like the Democrats that I've talked to like this plan. So I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna see if I can build some bridges, right? Aren't they talking about unity? Aren't
Right,
the
yeah,
Democrats all about unity right
bring
now?
it together, supposedly.
So
I mean,
yeah.
at the
So
same
I joined a
time, they're
couple of these
trying to
groups.
basically call everyone a domestic terrorist too, so
Yeah, right. Unity, except for all of you guys.
yeah, it's unity with
Except
everyone.
for anybody who's not on our team. But yeah, so I tried to join these groups, and they had like the question, like, why do you want to join? In like all of them, and I was basically like for unity, and I got rejected 3 out of the 4 groups. One of them they
Wow.
let me in, and I made a post. We'll see how well
Well,
that
good
goes,
on
but
them.
yeah, it's yeah. No, seriously, yeah, good for them. That I mean that's a good point. I should bring special attention to the guys who did let me in because it
Yeah,
is
because
it's this
they're
whole like
walking the walk of their. I believe that some of them actually do believe this malarkey that's going on out there.
yeah.
But they're drinking the Kool Aid.
Yeah, I mean, I do see a clear division between the people who are leading the movements and the people who are following.
Yeah,
There are plenty of people who are legitimately following in good faith, and then you have like these guys at the top who are just like criminals.
yeah,
And that's in every party. That's in the Republican Party, and yes, I even see that kind of crap in the Libertarian Party. Um, it's 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 nuts. But the people in the bottom, a lot of them are following in good faith, and a lot of them are just young and emotional. I mean, shit. I remember when I was like in my early 20s, and I was going to community college, and like I started first learning about some political stuff. Man, the price of gas was like $4 a gallon, and I was
oh
like,
my
yeah,
God.
man, these fucking oil companies. I wish they would all burn down, and like I was coming up with all this stuff. I was following the conspiracy theories because I was angry, and especially at a time when I didn't make any money. I was going to college.
Mhm.
Um, but it's also like it's a hormonal thing. It is so weird that like it's recognized. Like they teach you this in school. Like when you go through your growth spurts and you go through like you're gonna hit like hormonal like points in your life where like your mood is gonna be totally like puberty and like all this stuff. They tell you this like it's something we know, but then for some reason when it comes to politics, that's not an issue. That has nothing to do with this. These people are all angry and irate because what they believe in is the truth, and it's like no, they're being misled and controlled by people who are playing them like fucking puppets, and I was one of them. So if you think I'm talking shit about you and you're listening to this, I was one of them. It's perfectly natural. They're taking advantage of us.
Yeah,
And the fact that we're young, we don't know what's going on. We don't know all the facts. We're not seeing the whole picture. We think we know everything because we know everything that we've seen so far. But there's so much more we haven't learned yet, and they're using that against us to control us.
right.
It's crazy.
Ugh, I can't. I mean, I was saying the exact same thing. I was actually saying that today, talking about how like the people at the top are basically all on the same side. They're pushing us forward no matter who's in charge. And I don't really think it's the people that are following them that are, like they don't know what's going on. Like we go into these schools that are pushed based on the like Prussian schooling model and stuff like that. And they basically indoctrinate us to do what we're told for the first like 12 years of our learning and um, development and stuff like that. And we come out of this just following people. And when the leader says it's not that way, it's this way, we believe them, and it keeps us divided from each other. But I think most of the people on the bottom are like the normal people, not the politicians, are pretty decent. Like they're just normal people. They're just trying to make it from day to day. Which I mean, that kind of brings up like I always go off on how horrible politicians are and stuff like that. Um, so I want to let you guys know that like I don't consider Dan a politician. Like he's definitely not a politician. Like him and Nick Wildstar, and there's several other people out there. I don't consider you a politician. I hope you don't take that personally, Dan.
No, not at all.
I think that when you say you're going to go into an office and actually give them hell, you're going to give them hell.
I've
I
already
believe
given
that.
them hell without getting
I
elected.
know, right? Like I'm like, you're giving them hell all the time. I don't feel like that's gonna stop. You're not gonna buy in or sell out. You gotta plan for this governorship that you're running for. What kind of hell do you want to
Yeah.
give them?
So one of the things, okay, and I always frame it like this because the most important thing I believe is still that the change has to come from the people, right? Like I can't just
Yeah,
get into an office. I can't just lie to people and say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to give you everything you want," and then get in there and say like, "Okay, I'm going to give you freedom," which you never really wanted.
which you never
Because then they're going to
voted
be like,
for.
"What the hell is this freedom? Oh my god, it's
Oh
terrible."
God, it's scary.
Yeah, so people have to want freedom, and what's really scary about freedom right now is that so many people are dependent on government programs, and not even like when I say that, a lot of people think of like welfare and those types of things, but there's so many more, like
Oh
the
yeah,
FHA. To anybody who's ever bought a house, oh, the FHA, if it weren't for the FHA, I would have had to pay a lot more for the down payment on my house, and the FHA makes it so I only have to pay 3% down. Well, yeah, that's the FHA program, 3% down. That's amazing. The thing is, because of the
yeah,
FHA and all
like
these government programs, banks are lending out money that they normally otherwise would not be able to lend. And because of that, and you can see a clear distinction between Mexico and the United States, right? In Mexico, they don't have an FHA, they don't have any special assistance programs for banks. And if you want to borrow money to buy a house, you got to pay 50% down. But your house is going to be paid off in 10 years. In the United States, your house is going to be paid off in 30 years. So they're
yeah,
not
you
making it
basically
easier
spend
for
your
you to
whole
buy a
life.
house. They're making it easier for you to get into debt, which is
Yeah,
great for the banks, right? And not only are they making it easier for you to get into debt, they're also protecting you. They're protecting the banks for the people who can't follow through with that entire debt. And we've seen this so many times. I mean, every time there's a housing crisis and a mortgage bailout and all this other stuff. So one of the things that I want to do, and I know every Texan is going to love this, is we have to get rid of the property tax, because if you're paying property tax, you don't actually own your property. And
right.
anybody who's renting that wants to own a home needs to be put into a home that they own and that they can afford. And this is tremendous because one, I saw this in my own life, and I see this in anybody else's life. When you can stop paying rent, your life just changes. You
Yeah,
have your same income, and you eliminate the biggest expense that you have from month to month, which is your rent. And all
yep,
you have to do is own a property and not pay any tax on it, and you're set. Now, all the money that you earn, you can use that to pay off your credit cards. You can use that to start building your life instead of constantly treading water. And this is what's so fascinating about this stuff. So in the United States, and somebody came to me and said, "Well, the United States has the highest home ownership we've ever had." No, no, not at all. We have the highest debt we've ever had individually. I'm not talking about government debt. I'm talking about individuals. 80% of America is an average of $60,000 in debt, household debt. That's it's your
good
student loans.
lord.
It's also your home loans, your mortgage, your car payments, and everything else. All this debt, 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 debt. Most people don't even own their cars, right? Like if you were to stop making a payment on your car, they're going to take it away tomorrow.
Yeah,
It's all debt. Very, very few Americans actually own their home. Compare that to Mexico, where they don't have a property tax and they don't have an FHA. They have 80% home ownership. 80% own their
jeez.
homes without debt because there's no government program to like subsidize the banks. Like they think Americans think that the government is subsidizing their ability to buy a house, but no, they're just subsidizing the bank's ability to charge you interest.
Yeah,
So we need to get every Texan into a house, and we need to stop charging property tax. And that I think is the biggest improvement we're going to see in Texas, because I mean, all the other taxes we can cut, yeah, but this is the one that's going to have the most direct impact on people's lives. It's going to take everyone out of debt. and it's going to improve the quality of life. And hopefully what we're going to do is we're going to set an example for the rest of the country,
Well,
because
yeah,
this
either
is, I
that or
mean,
a lot of people are going to start moving to Texas.
yeah, um, which is already a problem. And as much as we support open borders, it's a real thing. You've got people moving to Texas from California saying we're going to turn this place blue.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're not even from here. And it's interesting because this is the whole argument that, like, even libertarians will say, yeah, we need closed borders, because what happens if a bunch of socialists come from Mexico and they come to the United States and they want to vote for socialism? That's their argument. And the typical anarchist response would be, well, nobody leaves socialism to vote for socialism. But that's exactly what's happening when people are
Yeah, it
leaving
is.
California to
Yeah,
go to Texas.
they dicked up the place
Um,
they're at, and now they're coming to dick up another place. They're not learning from their mistakes at all.
exactly.
Not
So,
saying that turning it red, I mean, keeping it red is probably not a very good thing either.
right. Well, it's interesting because this is the way I've always seen the two parties. Like, as much as they say they oppose each other, they really don't. They
No.
both advance their own agenda. So while the Republicans want one thing and the Democrats want something else, the Democrats are still going to push. And of course, we're talking about the leaders of the political parties, not the
Right.
supporters of them. The Democrats are going to push for higher taxes, and the Republicans are going to spend it.
Yeah.
Like, it's they're always they're working together, and
And it's
it's almost like a
cyclical.
diversion. Yeah, but it's like a
It's
diversion. Like, it's the other guy's fault. They always have somebody else to blame.
I mean,
Like, I was
sometimes
going
they
to do
flat out do
everything you
that.
wanted.
They'll be like, "Oh, I know that you wanted the stuff in this bill, but the other team slid some extra stuff in, so we had to say no." Like I see them
Right.
do that all the time. And
All the
it's
time.
and with your whole like the Democrats get the money and then the Republicans will spend it, or the Republic, like in back and forth. Like it's cyclical. Like it looks like there's change when we get new people in charge, but really all that's happening is they're taking the cue from what has already been built up over the last period of time, and they're running forward with it and continuing the plan. The only time those motherfuckers get together to get anything done is when they're screwing us, or
Yeah,
like giving themselves raises and all sorts of stuff. I can't I can't
absolutely.
stand it. Um,
And this is actually, that's a good point. There's something that I want to put this on the ballot, right? Like, whenever, like, every election in the entire world, really, but any election in Texas needs to have two things. Every election, every single year. And the first one should be, should Texas remain part of the union? And the second one should be, should the state of Texas completely dissolve? And
yeah,
a lot of people are going, "Oh my God, you want to get rid of the government?" And it's like, okay, hold on. Do we live in a democracy? Yes, as much as some of us might not like it, we live in a democracy. So if 51% of Texas wants to get rid of the government, doesn't that mean that, according to your rules of democracy, that we should get rid of the government? But not only that, don't you think it's a problem if 51% want to get rid of the government? And don't
yeah.
you think that the politicians who can look at the numbers off of the first election where that happens, they can look at those numbers and say, "Oh my God, we're at 48%. We better start earning their approval." Don't you
Mm-hmm.
think that's going to cause some real change that actually gets us some representation that we deserve?
One can
So at
only
the
hope.
very least, putting that on the ballot, isn't that an excellent way to keep the government in check?
Yeah. And I mean, this stuff works way better in a localized area. Like, they up top in the national game, like they don't even seem to care what their freaking approval ratings and stuff are. But down here locally, it's way more they're more beholden to the people. There's less between you and them. So they
Well,
do have to work on that.
the angry mob lives around the corner. when it's
Yeah,
local.
they're down the street when it's local. Yeah, exactly. They know where you are. Like here, we know where old Asa is at any given time, and he has to worry about that. I mean, he's so on his toes right now. Every time we decide to gather anywhere near him for protest, no matter what side it is, you'll see him armed guard, guest escorted out of the area, and he won't come back until it's over. Like I'll be
Wow.
standing around talking to the last stragglers and stuff about stuff at random because I can't stop talking. I just talk forever, and that's when we'll see them come back. And I'm like, you know, I love that saying, "Make politicians afraid again." Well, if you want them to be afraid of you, you have to do it at the local level. You have to keep them accountable at a local level, because the national I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel like the national level is so out of control at this point. I don't know if we can rein it back in. Like we're certainly
Yeah, I
not gonna
mean,
get someone awesome like you or like Vora or like any of the libertarians basically. We're not gonna get a libertarian in as office because we'd have to defeat the electoral college in order to get somebody in.
well, I think honestly, I think it is possible. But
Think
it
so?
all goes back to that idea that in order for that to happen, people have to want it. And right now nobody wants it. I mean, as much as we hate to admit it, most of America loves tyranny. They just want to be on the side. Like they want I'll be happy as long as my tyrant's in charge.
Yeah.
That's what they want.
Well, yeah, and that's the sad part. That's why I think, well, that's another reason why I don't think we're going to be able to get like a liberty loving person up top nationally right now because I think that people are literally afraid of having to take personal responsibility for all the things. They would rather the government do it for them, regardless of whether the government is actually doing it or not, which is just flabbergasting because, like, again and again and again, we see them not doing the things they say they're going to do. And people are just like, well, it's better than that other person. At least it's
That's
not
why
Trump. At least it's not Clinton. At
That's
least
why
it's
they're
not.
always going after the young people because the young people haven't been screwed by the previous election.
Yeah,
I
they
mean, this
don't know
is
what it's like yet.
I mean, look, the first time I voted for a president, I voted for Obama. Yes, I know, boo me.
Oh,
Because I
Dan.
thought he was going to be anti-war. Like I had just started paying attention. Oh, this guy Bush is a warmonger. We've been in Afghanistan for 8 years. Let's get him out of there. Oh, this other guy. Yeah, the Democrats represent the people. Yeah, Obama, he's anti-war. Let's get him in there. And then all of a sudden he started drone striking and it's like, oh wow, I got screwed on that deal. And
Yeah.
after that, that's when I started waking up and realizing like, hey, all this stuff is like wrong. And I know there are some older people who still hold on to the two-party system and all this other stuff, but I think a lot of the younger generations are immediately like, oh, well, that fucking sucked. And then that's when they grow up and they get a little bit older and they turn into the non-voting population because they're like, it doesn't matter. Like both of them suck. And they realize it at that point. So I think there is hope, but we need to figure out the right way to get everybody kind of to recognize the common ground and to see things a little bit differently. And that's one of the things. I mean, look, I bump heads with libertarians all the time because I'm telling them, look, you know, some of you guys are assholes. Some of you guys have a great message, but whatever the case, like we can't just be sitting around in this circle jerk. We got to get out there and we have to get more people to listen to this message. And they're like, oh, I don't want to talk to those stupid Democrats. They're never going to learn anything. Oh, those damn Republicans, they're all idiots. They're not going to listen to us. And it's like you are locking yourselves into an echo chamber. Nothing is ever going to change if you're just going to sit around right here and wait for everybody to, everybody who's a libertarian to come and find you hiding under a rock. It's not going to happen. You
Yeah,
need to
that's
reach out
that's
into
one
these
of my
other groups
biggest
and talk to them.
frustrations with the LP itself is trying to get people even more locally. It's hard to try and get them to go out and talk to the people. Like every time I go out to any protest or any event, I'm doing it to like cover the event, and like I'm going there in my aloha stuff and everything like that. And I'm talking to people, and if they I keep trying to think if I can find a way to make these people see how receptive these people are to the stuff that I'm just talking about to them, just casually, maybe they would be moved to come out there and help me, because I can only do so much, right? Nah, dude, nah.
Yeah.
Like, they won't come out. They don't come out. They want to sit. This is one of the things that people complain about and that I complain about. And they want to sit in their ivory tower and pretend to oppose the cult of the state while emulating the cult of the state, and they don't go outside. Like, you can tell that I've been dealing
Absolutely.
with this. Like, when we very first met, I was like, yeah, I'm an LP and everything's gonna be great and stuff. And now I'm just like, they don't do shit. I'm fucking pissed. Like, I mean, I
Yeah.
still stay at it and I'm trying to push. There's like a good few people, and I know I shared this in our state libertarian server, so I hope that if you watch this and you are one of the people that this doesn't apply to, you don't think that it applies to you, because there are a few people out there trying to push and trying to do everything that they can. But to me, it seems like they're putting all the work on the few new young people that they have that are willing to go out there and do that stuff. um God bless Ricky Harrington. He actually like went out and talked to people all over the place. Like, that's why he had such like he won here in Little Rock. Like, he got such high percentages. It was flabbergasting. I've never seen that before. Um
Nice.
and just like how Todd and all of them say in Oklahoma, you've got to go outside. You've got to go out there. You've got to hit doors. You got to go to events. You got to
But
force
there's
people
Corona
into
out
the
there.
yeah, that's another thing. Like, they're so afraid of what the media will say and stuff that they're allowing this overreach to
Right.
happen to them. Like, I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about this, but nobody told me I wasn't, so fuck them. I was sitting in there the other day and we were planning the state convention, right? And they were talking about how they should do a hybrid thing, and that made me really happy. At the end of that, I was like, y'all, I'm glad that y'all are gonna make people are gonna make it to where people can come out and stuff like that, because I'm sick of this. I'm sick of us rolling over for tyranny. Like, this is supposed to be the Liberty Party, and to be honest, if y'all were gonna have an only online convention, I was not gonna go. And the truth is, I wasn't just not gonna go. I was gonna fucking boycott it. I was gonna call people. I was gonna cause a fucking scene, and I was gonna throw a party on the day right when they were running it, and bring all the people who wanted to come out to talk about liberty and drink and smoke the marijuanas and have the bonfire and all the things, like we did in Oklahoma last year. Um, because it's so frustrating. And somebody actually said, well, if they do a forced lockdown, we won't have a choice and we'll have to do it online. And nobody contested this. And I'm just sitting there thinking, well, if you guys are having an online convention during a forced lockdown and that's what y'all are doing, I'm gonna quit the LP. Because, like, holy shit, they were just so
Yeah.
casual about it. I wish
This
I'm
was
glad
a
I didn't know, because I wouldn't have tried and I wouldn't have met the cool people that I met. But to be honest, these days I use the LP for a platform and to meet the people who are going to do something, because they do
yeah.
show up. They do show up. And personally, I feel like we got to save some of those people, because they show up gung ho and wanting to do shit. And the other LP members will just let them do it. And they'll not just let them, but they expect them to. And it lets them continue to be lazy. And I'm like, don't pick it all up. Make them pick some of it up. Leave it on the floor. Just leave it on the smacking that tray out of their hand. Leave it on the
I don't know.
floor.
Sometimes those other guys will leave it on the floor too.
They will. I hate that shit. But I
Yeah,
mean,
you know what else that I see that's kind of frustrating is I see a lot of really great people go to the LP and then they leave because they're the only ones who are kind of like really like they've got that fire that they want to pull their weight, they want to make stuff happen, and they leave and then the next round comes in, and the next round, and the next round. And it's almost like if all those guys would have stuck around
Would have
and
stuck
waited
around.
as all these new guys came in cumulatively, it would be a whole different story. And I think that's one of the reasons why I've like, as many times as like I'm angry and I'm like, screw you guys, I'm going home. Like I'm still here. I'm still part of it. I'm not,
I'm still
I'm
here
not
for
gonna.
some reason.
Yeah. I mean, like, because that's the thing. I mean, there's always, and like I go to these conventions. I sometimes I meet some really really amazing people. And I think at the very least, if the path to success is not through the LP, it is the organization of finding the real activists who are going to create that path to success go through the LP, and it's at the very least a great place to meet new people
To
and
meet
create new
them.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And I think that's definitely one of the reasons why I am still around because it helps me meet liberty-minded people. I see that. Have you seen that meme where it's the
the,
guy looking away from the girl and the girl behind him who's all offended? She's labeled the
yeah.
Libertarian Party, and then in the front it's the Boogaloo, and they're like looking at it and stuff. I actually the one of the reasons why I'm so excited about the Boog and stuff is because like they're literally going out there and talking liberty. They are preaching liberty on fucking street corners. They are kidding up, going out to everybody's protests and trying to show them that there's something else. That we don't have to be part of this duopoly. And they're doing everything that I thought the LP was gonna do you
Right.
know I guess activism wise and shit like that. And I mean, as much as
Yeah, that
people want to
was.
call us terrorists and stuff, mostly we're just peacefully going out there and talking to people and trying to bring more people to liberty and using the meme warfare and stuff. What were
Well,
you gonna say?
Justin Amash says the Libertarian Party is about liberty, not anarchy, and the anarchists belong somewhere else.
He can suck my left nut. Obviously he's never heard of the Dallas Accord.
Right?
A
Um,
lot of them haven't, I think.
yeah, no, it's nuts, but like, I mean, the audacity to like, he's a new member and he wants to come in and say, oh, this is how we should do things.
Yeah. No,
Like
I don't
you're the
trust
new
him.
guy, bro.
Calm down, sit down, chill out a
Yeah,
little bit. Have a sip of LiberTEA while you're getting that Kool-Aid
right.
taste out of your mouth.
Read the
Um,
instruction manual first.
yeah.
Although I can't really fault him for that one because I don't read the instruction manual anywhere
Well,
I go.
I don't read the instruction manual either, and I hate that whole like real libertarian crap, but sometimes you're just like, "Come on, man. Come on, man." To steal a line from Biden, that's gonna be his fucking election line. We're gonna end up having that be illegal to say because he's gonna get tired of it. But
Right.
seriously, like I just
Oh, he needs to patent it. Isn't that what those trolls do? He needs to patent
patent
it
it.
so that like, yeah. So anybody who says it, like they owe him like $100.
Yeah, we're not gonna be able to eat corn pops either. Like corn pops are gonna get bought out, and we're not gonna allowed to eat them or make fun of them. It's gonna be
Yeah.
illegal to make fun of corn pops. But like, uh, okay, so not reading instruction manuals, going off the line, giving them hell and all that stuff. I gotta ask, so like if this is not legal for someone to do with a business, the insulin stuff at the thing, is it gonna be safe? Is it safe to do this at the rally, or is this like civil disobedience?
This is civil disobedience, but it is absolutely safe because this will be real insulin. It will not cause anybody any harm. Oh, but if you're talking about me,
I meant, I meant
um,
you.
yeah, who knows? I mean, I'm gonna fuck around and find out. If they come and take me, then that just shows the lengths that they're willing to go to protect their inflated market. to protect their profits. Because I mean, think about it. You've got tens of millions of Americans who are buying insulin, spending $100 a month. That's like even if it's 10 million, that's $1 billion a month.
Yeah.
And if we're going to cut that down by 88%, they're losing a lot of money.
Well, I'll tell
So
you one thing with the tea that I buy, they want you to pay about $80 per batch of it that you get. But if you do it right in Minecraft, you can get it for the same price your guys are giving away the pins, and it's ridiculous that we have to do this, that we have to do that. We should be able to buy medicine the same price as everybody else in the rest of the world without fear from our government coming to basically take our liberty from us because of it. That's ridiculous. And to be honest, like I'm gonna do my best to be there. They're gonna have to come through my ass if they want to take you, Dan. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna stand in the way. I'm not gonna be like Spike Cohen with freaking Mike Dunn being like getting out of the way and letting them do all that shit. I'll be standing. We'll be looking for bail together. I swear. I swear.
nice.
Here's hoping they don't have the balls though. I mean, like, it'll be kind of weird for them to come in and arrest the guy who's trying to become governor. Honestly, that might be great publicity at this point. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't understand why Spike didn't make them arrest him too, and because that would have been great publicity for like all of the Liberty people. They'd have been like, he's gonna sit there with us. Heck yeah, he means
right.
that shit. But like,
And I think it's really interesting. Like this was kind of a consideration, right? Because what are you going to get arrested for? Like Adam Kokesh got arrested a million times for possession of cannabis and some other stuff, and it's
all
like
sorts of stuff.
you look at that and like it's like yeah, it's I mean the whole drug war is bullshit, but at the same time it's like there are a lot of people who are going to look at that and be like, well, yeah, but he was selling or he was in possession of illegal cannabis. Ooh. But it's like here
if they arrest you here, they're gonna be like, they arrested him because he was giving people
I'm helping
medicine.
Exactly. I mean, this is diabetes. This is not even like like you broke your back and they're giving you like hydrocodone or something. Like this is not a controlled substance. This is just normal monthly medication for tens of millions of people in America that are diabetics that need this to live, and I'm just saving them some money. Like there's no way you could spin this into making me look like the devil. And yeah, I was reading this really great book recently.
Point. I didn't even think about that. I was just getting really nervous and worried about you and stuff, and then I was like, and you saying that actually, I'm kind of like, well, fuck yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if they arrest me, hey, I'll post bail, I'll show up for trial, and it will be a trial of public opinion of the century, and I will fight them. I will not deny anything that I did. I will just say, look, this is the government that you have allowed to exist that is putting people in prison for trying to get people the medication that they need to survive. It's literally if you allow them to convict me on this, you are sentencing people to death. And there was a movie with I swear I did this last time I tried to bring this up with Matthew McConaughey, and he was like trying to help free some slaves, and they had this giant like wagon full of corn, and they're transporting it somewhere, and like the Confederate soldiers come out, and they're like, oh, that's some nice corn you got there. I think we're gonna take that. And I think it was Matthew McConaughey. He's like, well, here's the thing. If you take this corn, we can't feed our hogs. If we can't feed our hogs die. If our hogs die, we don't eat this winter and we're going to die. So if you steal this corn, you are threatening to kill us. And we're not going to let that happen. And I think that's really important because people can look at, oh, well, the government didn't kill him. They just took his cannabis away because cannabis is a bad plant. Well, but it's a chain reaction. You take someone's cannabis away, they can't self-medicate, they get depressed, they kill themselves. And because they have PTSD because they went to go fight for the government. Like, any number of these chain reactions happen, and the end result is somebody dies.
Yeah.
And the first domino to fall is always the government did something. The government either threatened to do something so that somebody couldn't have access to their medicine, or they physically arrested somebody, or they physically took medication from somebody. It always starts with the government doing something like that, and it always ends in disaster, if not for like thousands of people, for one person. And it's an absolute tragedy. This should not be happening at all, especially in United States of America, the freest country in the world.
Yeah, definitely. I can't. Uh, uh, so sad that this. I mean,
Yeah.
like that we just keep being okay with this kind of stuff. And honestly, like, yeah, that would be a huge mistake for them to arrest you, because the PR you would get from that and the bad PR that they would get from that would be hefty. And this time, the way things are right now, I don't think that they can afford it. Like, they literally had people like bust into the freaking, January 6th when they busted into the Capitol and stuff. Like, that was surprising to me, because I thought they were just gonna mill around and complain and simp, but they didn't. They went in there. Although they didn't really do anything and they didn't really bust in. They opened the doors for them,
Right.
like, but
Yeah, they broke a
still, it
couple
was a
windows,
show
but
of it was a show of actual displeasure that made a lot of them real fucking nervous, and like nervous enough to like almost lock down all the capitals and stuff on us when we did our peace unity rally where we were talking about liberty and stuff like that. Like, the way they reacted was absolutely ridiculous across the nation.
it,
I think
you
that
know,
it was so bad that even the officers that were there and stuff were put out. Like, they were unhappy about having to be there, especially, you know, because it wasn't what they said it was going to be. Yeah.
AOC tweeted something about like, yeah, these people are all cowards. And I'm like, wait a minute. And I went and I copied the definition of the word cower.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's
And I'm
what
like,
they were doing.
that's what you were doing.
Yeah.
Literally, like bending at the knee, which is one of the definition words, bending at the knee, hiding behind your tables and cabinets and things. You were cowering when people were just walking around the halls, like they weren't shooting at the ceilings, and like they weren't
Yeah,
doing
this is
anything that
DC.
threatening.
Like, they didn't have weapons and stuff like that. This is
No.
DC. The only people who had weapons were the government, and like, from some of the things that I saw, some of the people in there had guns and stuff, and they had guards between them and everything, and they were still cowering. Like,
If they get through those doors, it's over. It's over for all of us.
game over, man. Game over.
Oh man.
Well, I don't
You
know,
gave
man.
me a good idea. I need to make a come and take it flag with the insulin pen on it.
Oh,
It's
that's
gonna
a
be my
great idea,
That's
dude.
gonna be my next meme.
You gotta, if you make that into some sort of t-shirt or something, and let people buy it while they're
Ooh,
out there to help support the campaign. I would
that's
buy
a
one
good
of
idea.
those. I think
That's a
that's a
good
great
idea.
idea. So, like, just to go over it one more time, because there were not as many people in here when we first started it. Like, what is the rally, and when is it happening, and how's it gonna go down?
So it's the rally to free healthcare, not for free healthcare.
Yes.
It's
Gotta clarify that.
it's at it's at the Capitol in Austin on February 20th. We're going to meet there at 11 a.m. It's going to be an awesome time. Bring all your friends. Bring as many people as you can, especially if you know any diabetics. Especially if you know any diabetics who are struggling to keep up with their insulin. We're going to be selling insulin pens for $12 that normally cost $100.
Yeah.
And we will have a limited supply, so make sure you get there early. And hopefully the government doesn't confiscate them before they get there,
Like the
but I don't think
sheriff
we're going to have
of
a problem with that.
Nottingham. Like
Yeah,
that's
right.
some sheriff of Nottingham shit.
Right. We're going to take them and we're going to break them in half because people cannot have this medicine because they didn't pay the extra $88 extortion fee.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm so glad that you're doing this. This is so neat because like a lot of times rallies and protests they don't seem to have much action going at them and like I love protests and rallies because they bring attention to things but they don't usually have solutionary things going on at the same time. And this is kind of like an example and it's daring and it's civil disobedience. And on that note, I have to ask, like, this is all on you, right? Like people who show up are not in danger of being arrested
Nope.
or anything like that, just so that
Nope.
people don't get scared and back out of it or anything, right?
Nope. The only thing, I mean, and I don't think this would be an issue, but the only thing it would be a huge stretch is if somebody does buy some insulin. Oh, you purchased illegal contraband. Um, that's kind of bullshit. We're not going to be giving this out to people who aren't diabetics. So we are going to ask that you show that you're a diabetic, either show that you already have insulin or something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't even think that's a thing. Like, there aren't people out there like, oh man, I'm gonna go get some insulin and get high this weekend, man. Like,
Yeah,
that's
I
not
don't
even a
think
thing.
that's how that works. Yeah. Like, I think that
So
taking insulin is dangerous if you don't need it, isn't it?
yeah,
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 most
no,
people are not
absolutely, it
gonna.
is. But I mean, so is heroin, and people take heroin, but heroin at least gets you
Well,
high.
fair.
So
At least heroin gets you high first, though. Yeah.
yeah, insulin's not going to do that. I mean, yeah, unless it gets you like a sugar rush or something. I don't know. I've never heard of that. But
I've never heard
just
of
in
that
case
either.
we are going to be responsible. We're just going to make sure we're giving it to people who need it. Um, but yeah, I mean that's really the only risk. Everything else is on me. And it's really again, most rallies. I don't want to say most rallies. A lot of rallies are really good because they get a lot of people out, and you get people speaking on important issues. So there's always information to learn, and I think
And they're networking
that's
hotspots.
absolutely. And I think that's definitely a key thing that's going to happen here. We're going to have some great speakers that are going to be sharing some really amazing information. Hopefully our speeches and videos will be shared on the interwebs far and wide. Of course, if they don't get zucked immediately. So that's an amazing thing that's going to come out of this. I think the civil disobedience that we're doing, if anything, is just a little added extra kick. And like I said, if they do arrest me, that just goes to show, what lengths they're willing to go to protect this big pharma monopoly and protect their profits. And we know they're hurting right now. I should find out if any of these hedge funds that shorted GME
Oh, you
are like,
should. That's a good question.
if they're like heavily invested in these insulin companies. Yeah, because they're like, oh, we can't lose any more money this month. We got to stop this guy.
That's like kicking them. That's like kicking them in the nuts while they're on their knees already.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it. Kick away, y'all. Kick away. But seriously, I think this is gonna be awesome. And like again, I'm definitely gonna try and be there. I'm trying to make plans and stuff like that. And I hope that you guys would, those of you out there, spread this far and wide and try and get people to come in to just support it and stuff like that. Plus, this is Texas and people can be armed, and armed protesters don't get bashed by cops as often. So, come protect the people, protect the insulin, protect the Dan. Like I don't think I mean, they are allowed to do that, right?
Yep, open carry is
Um,
legal in Texas. Open carrying long rifles, rifles and shotguns is legal. Open carrying pistols is legal with a concealed carry permit, which I
that's
don't really
weird.
agree with, but
That's very
right. It's
weird.
Texas. It's Texas. It's supposed to be like, you would
I'm
think
so
Texas would have
disappointed. Like,
constitutional carry.
When I was younger, I
That's
used to be
another
like,
thing that
well,
I'm going to work
Texas
on.
is like the wild, wild west. And then I left Texas and went to places that are like actually constitutional carry states and stuff like that. And I'm like, wow, Texas is weak. Like,
Right.
I get embarrassed to tell people I'm from Texas sometimes. I'm like, no, I'm from Arkansas. Or whatever, like,
Hey,
oh,
good times create weak men. And
yeah,
they're just
I
going through the
guess
cycle
so.
like everybody else.
I remember days in Texas when the Democrats were pro-gun. Remember
Oh
like
wow.
Ann Richards and shit like that? Like, wasn't she a Democrat? Yeah, she was a Democrat.
I
And
I don't know.
I remember like being told the story of like her in there and they were trying to put gun control laws on women because they're more emotional, basically. They're gonna whip
Oh
their guns
wow.
out of their purses and shoot somebody. And the way she defeated that, the beginning of her speech was she brought one of those big ass Dallas lady purses. You know what I'm talking about? Those giant
Yeah.
luggage purses. And she dumped it and her gun and everything all out on the floor. And she's like, how fast do you think I can find that? And that just, the idea, like, and
Wow.
I'm probably partial to her because like she put up with me when I was in I went there with the Texas Girls Choir before I transitioned and everything, obviously, because you don't I was like fucking 9 or something, and I had like a this is an embarrassing story time, everybody. Embarrassing story time. Like when I was younger, I didn't have all the muscle control in my around my organs and stuff because like not everything was right. That's one of the extra things with me being like um uh part of the like okay, I'm not your, I guess, average trans. I actually have like hormonal imbalances and stuff wrong with my insides and my externals and stuff like that. I'm intersex. So a side effect also I wasn't fully formed with my muscles on the inside and stuff. So I told them I had to go to the bathroom and they were supposed to let me go to the bathroom when I had to because they knew there was something wrong with me. And the assistant director of the choir was a bitch and she would not let me go because we were about to sing for Ann
Wow.
Richards. And I was on the front row and I peed myself. And I was so mortified that it just she saved me and ran off and let me be all over her carpet and everything and it was just she was really nice about it. So I am partial towards her, but like a lot of the stories that I've heard are fucking amazing. Like and yeah, there was a time when even the Democrats in Texas were pro-gun, but now it's getting crazy out there. Texas has got y'all gotta like muscle you gotta like exercise your liberty muscles and get them rebuilt because you've been sitting inside and watching TV and letting those liberty muscles atrophy. And I mean,
Right.
honestly, what better way than to let Dan help? Because he's a motherfucker in the good way. He's a badass and like some of the stories that we've gotten out of him on this on here and everything and the stories that I've heard about him and everything I personally will totally endorse Dan. Um because my vote only happens when I think it's for praxis. And I know you're going to give him hell and you're going to tear down the bullshit. And
Nice.
so, like I can't vote cuz I'm not in Texas, but if I could, I would fucking vote for you. Um if that
Thank you.
means anything to you guys out there.
Yeah, it
Because
does.
like I am horrible about being like fuck voting. Voting is force, but I will use it as a weapon. And if you
That's
guys want
yes.
somebody, like he's a sword. Pick your sword, y'all. Pick your sword. Um,
Yeah,
do
and
you
if
have?
like and I totally get the like the non-voting thing and like, people come to me with that all the time like, "Yeah, but I don't vote." And I'm like, "Okay, cool, man." But I still go back to the same, idea that nothing's going to change unless we change. So I don't care if you vote for me as long as you support me and help me get this message out to as many people as possible.
Yeah,
Because realistically, like, I mean, that's the thing. The libertarians are generally like, if we get enough votes, we'll win. But it's like that's not how it works. You have to change the way people think before you can ever get enough votes. But by the time you change enough people's minds to think the way that libertarians and anarchists think, you won't even need to vote.
You won't even
Like
need it.
that's the beautiful thing. We just need to focus on that, changing, winning the hearts and minds.
Yeah,
That's really all it
definitely.
is.
I totally agree with that. Like, like I may not agree to vote for libertarians out there, but I will go out there and talk about them. And also I've been heard saying things like, if you have to vote, please vote for this person and here's why. Um, because like I can't, it makes me throw up in my mouth a little bit to be like, you need to vote for this person. I'm like, if you have to participate in this, please participate wisely. Like actually make it count for something. If nothing else, just give them numbers that will make the others sweat. Just like you said earlier with the
Right.
51%. Um,
Give them a middle
because
finger.
like
Yeah,
those libertarian numbers are climbing and they do make them sweat because they realize that
absolutely.
they know that there's a third choice and they don't want you guys to know that. But if enough people start acting like there's a third choice, they're going to have problems and they know it. Because they're not going to be able to push their the things that they want to push. They're going to have to push the things that people want them to push instead. It'll force a little bit
Right.
of accountability. And
It's
plus,
going to
if
be like,
we can't change things peacefully, there's only one other option.
yeah,
And I don't really necessarily want things to get out of hand. I would prefer us be able to like change hearts and minds. That would be my ultimate goal is to change hearts and minds.
definitely. Because I want to be alive when we get to the
Yeah,
promised land.
I'd like to be alive to see it too. I don't, it's looking crazy out there. I don't know, but I'd like to be there.
Yeah,
I'd like to be alive and still have some shit going for me when we get to the Liberty Land. Um, is there
absolutely.
anything else that you wanted to share about your governor run and stuff like that?
Um, well, let me just plug the website. Head over to
Oh yeah.
danforfreedom.com and check that out. And you can follow me on Twitter at Dan for Texas, and Instagram at Dan Behrman. Um, there's a new social network that I created that's in beta right now. If you're interested in checking that out,
Oh, tell us about that.
zinc.social. Real quick, it's basically it's a social network that connects all the other social networks. So the idea is, if you get kicked off of one, like let's say my Facebook account gets deleted, as long as you're following me on Zinc, I just go to my Zinc account, I delete my old Facebook, and I add a new Facebook, and I set up my new Facebook, or I move to MeWe, or wherever else, Parlor, anything. You can go to my Zinc account, and you can, like, you'll know every platform I'm on. You can know where to reach me if I'm on Signal, WhatsApp, any of those. And it's really just a tool to make sure that we stay connected. And there's, like, even Parlor. Apparently, the whole Parlor thing, the reason they got taken down was because they didn't have a plan in place to prevent, they weren't pressuring them to really censor. They were just pressuring them to have, like, not have violence and illegal content or something like that. Well, Zinc doesn't have any content at all, so we never have to face that pressure at all we do is link to other sites. That's it. And I mean, it's, if anything, we could take the Pirate Bay defense, where they that story, right? They tried to take them down so many times, and they're like, we're not hosting illegal content, we're basically just a search engine like Google.
Yeah,
And that's why they're still online. um and that's why they haven't gone to prison. So that's really what Zinc is. So if platforms start cutting stuff down, who knows where we'll be in 5 years? Maybe all the social medias will be on blockchain and everything else. But if they're decentralized, if everyone's in different places, this is just a way to keep track and make sure where everybody is.
that's pretty cool. When that gets closer, you might have to come on and plug it deeper and explain the depths of it to people and stuff like that. I think that'd be a really cool thing to talk about. We
Absolutely. I'll
have
send you
to
a
come
link
up
after
with.
this.
I love that you're coming up with solutions because there's a lot of people out there who are just angry about it, but they're not doing anything. And
Right.
uh, good old Dan here, he's like, well, let's do something about it then.
I'm trying.
I ruin all of the best debates by being like, okay, so what are we gonna do about it? And they're like, what? we're just debating. And I'm like, yeah, but what's the purpose if we're not going to take all of this and do
I'm just here
something
to tell
with
you how
it?
bad it is.
Yeah, exactly. We gotta take those thought processes and do some shit with it. And I love that stuff. Also, like, you guys, all of those links that he threw out there and a few more are down in the description. If you're on YouTube, you can totally just go down there and lazy click in them to find him too. And um did you have anything else to plug?
No. Well, I mean, can I?
I didn't want to, like,
I've got so many projects I'm working on.
dude, tell us what the fuck you're doing. Tell us.
All right.
Share.
All right. I've got a site called nugofknowledge.com. It's like we're selling weed, but we're selling diet weed. It's all hemp, CBD, THC is below 0.03%, but we do have THC Delta 8 cartridges, which are legal in all 50 states. So is all the hemp. But this is an awesome project because not only are we selling weed, we're involving the community. So if you want to be one of our diet weed dealers, you can be a part of it. It's kind of like Mary Kay, except it's Mary J. And so everybody can be a dealer. Everybody can make some money. And at the same time, we're taking 20% of our profits and we're using that to buy Nugs and Hugs, which is free diet weed that's going to veterans and disabled people who need it and can't afford it. And we're also taking a lot of our profit and contributing it to organizations like the Free Thought Project and the Innocence Project and Normal and these other guys, because these guys are out there, helping real world people with real world problems, fighting in courts and doing all this other amazing activism. So just by selling weed, we're helping to change the world. And then, of course, there's one smaller project. It's called Harambe, which is an art exchange. And we're actually importing artwork from Africa that benefits libertarians in Uganda. And hopefully we'll expand to some other countries in Africa too. But it's amazing hand-painted artwork. Like, this stuff it's so amazing. We're working on the site right now, so hopefully it'll be up soon. But the artwork is just like, as I showed this to everybody on my team, they're like, I want that one. Like, it's like, guys, you're gonna buy all the stuff up before we ever have the website online. But it's really amazing stuff. Yeah, and it all goes towards a good cause. So I'm kind of like, I guess I'm mixing entrepreneurship with with fundraising for libertarian or anarchist activism. So so it's really fun. And yeah, and then of course taxationistheft.info. We got the podcast over there, and we got all the cool swag. So
do you still have the flag up? Like, you can get that flag.
Oh yeah.
You guys have seen Deco literally wearing this flag as a toga. If you want to get the flag that Deco wears as a toga, you can totally. He got that from Dan. Y'all can get one just like that. And yeah,
That's
he does.
awesome.
He puts it on like a toga and comes in, and he's wearing, like, he's one of the resident ANCAPs and stuff, and he's like, taxation is theft. It's good shit. So if you guys want the Deco toga, it's actually Dan's flag.
I'm like, in my head, my little wheels are spinning. Like, should I wear that to the event?
Do it. Put it on like a cape. You could be like, taxation is theft, man.
That would be hilarious.
I would love that. I would love that. I'm not sure if some of the older people would be like, he's so weird,
right,
but whatever.
like, this guy's fucking weird. Yeah, I had so much pushback from that within the Libertarian Party.
Is that why you're wearing a cap, or like what happened to the hat? Because like everybody wants to know what happened to the hat. Because the younger people, we love your hat. We love the hat.
Yeah, it was it served its purpose. It was there to make a statement, and I think that statement's been made. I do want people to know that I am serious about all the stuff that I'm doing. So as of now, this is only reserved for the after parties. So I will be traveling with it. I will be wearing it at the after parties, but this is my serious hat. This is my let's get down to business.
Well, you still look good in the serious hat, but it throws me the F off because like I'm so used to it from like when I was a wee younger Libertarian Party member, I suppose I was like, oh, the hat. And then everybody would complain about it. And I'd be like, oh, y'all are stupid. It's just a hat.
Yeah,
Calm down. It's not like
it's
he's wearing a boot or anything.
right. I don't know if there's anything wrong with the boot. Yeah, but
I don't think there's anything wrong with the boot either. I
it's
think
funny.
Behrman's cool.
Yeah, he's awesome. It is funny. There's like, it's kind of a level of hypocrisy where, oh, we're anti bigotry unless you look different from us, and it's a hat. I mean, you want to stand up for this person's right because he looks different because his skin is black. So, and you say you want to stand up for his right, and people shouldn't discriminate against him. But now you want to transgender, I guess transvestite people, where they want to dress in the opposite sex's clothes. Like, oh, their rights should be protected. Well, you're just protecting what they're wearing. But then as soon as I put
Yeah.
on a hat, oh, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Like, it's hypocrisy. And it's
I-
I think that was one of the lessons to be learned from that is like none of this should really matter. There was a guy I asked on Facebook who's running in a libertarian circle, who's running for mayor, right? Because I wanted to, if there was a libertarian candidate for mayor, I wanted to invite them to this rally.
right.
And somebody commented that there was this guy who was who he would wear women's clothes, he was homeless, he was well known around downtown Austin. He died in like 2012, I think. He was assaulted and ultimately died. And I just heard this story and I was like, wow. But I'm reading about him and I'm like, this guy sounds fucking awesome. I wish I could have met him. And I found out he ran for mayor and he got, I think it was like 10% in a three-way race for mayor.
Wow.
This homeless guy who runs around they said he would wear a boa, like a snake, an actual snake, I think, or maybe it was a boa, I don't know. But and he would wear like high heels and like business lady suits and like all like crazy stuff that you would look at him and say like, oh, no one's gonna take him seriously running around like that. That would be the libertarian. But he got more votes for mayor as an independent than any libertarian ever did in that city.
Yeah.
So stop
I think
cannibalizing
they're trying to play
your
it
own
safe.
candidates.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
seems
they
to me
are,
like they
but it
worry. They
doesn't
want to
work.
play it safe. They want to be the middle ground, but
It
libertarians are
doesn't
not the
work.
middle ground. We're
No.
radical, we're different, and we are not centrists. Like that's not the
Right.
centrists up there in that safe Overton window thing. If you're looking at the political compass, we are way the hell down here. Like you have the Democrats and the Republicans up here, and then we're way down here. We're not like them. And I think that it kind of turns people away in a way because like people will come to the Libertarian Party looking for something different. And then when they get there, they are shown someone who is safe and acts like the middle ground between the libertarian and between the Republicans and the Democrats, and I think it's horrible. I think it's a disservice.
Right.
Oh, look,
People should
Tico's
not
there.
take politics seriously. Stop picking serious candidates.
Yeah,
That's how we got into
seriously.
this mess.
Yeah, seriously. It's a big problem, and but I still like the hat. I like your taxation is theft hat too. It's good,
Thanks.
and I hope they don't get mad about that one too, because like I hear libertarians being like, "Whoa, taxation is theft scares people," and I'm like, "Good, it's a good conversational piece." Like when they're like, "Oh,
Government
this is
scares me.
horrible,"
What are
yeah,
you
like
doing
the
about that?
government scares me. We're not doing anything about that, but honestly, I think it's a good conversational piece. Like maybe don't um like chase people around scaring them with it, then just say it, and then when they ask
Right.
you or start to say something about it, then you've got the door is open. You can talk to them, you can tell them why taxation is theft, you can tell them all these other things. And I don't know, like being weird and not mentally and socially fitting into the molds that people expect me to, that gets me talking to all sorts of people. It's a cognitive well, it's like you said this before, way back
Cognitive
in the day.
dissonance.
Yes, it's like it causes a cognitive dissonance and it leaves people more receptive. I've been doing that for a while now, and it's great. So, I mean,
Absolutely. I had
boo
a
on
I
them
had
for
a
being boo on the hat.
I had a candidate for a Democrat candidate for the Florida State House on my show called "Taxation is Theft," and she was there. We had an awesome conversation. We didn't agree on a whole lot, but we did agree on some stuff. She took some of my policies and she's like, "I'm going to run with that. That's awesome." But we had a good conversation, and at the end of the day, we didn't hate each other. So
Yeah,
you know, which is what most people would have expected out of that. So I think, you know, that alone is, and I hope to have a lot more conversations like that, but that alone is like, that's what we should be doing, having conversations with people we disagree with, um, not killing each other over it, and just having an open mind, and leave our minds open to the possibility that everything that we know is wrong. Because um, as much as I believe everything I know is right now, I thought the same thing 10 years ago when I was a fucking Democrat.
exactly. Yeah. Well, heck,
So,
even though
yeah,
I was never a Democrat or a Republican, like I was liberty minded all the way through, but like just from that to now, like from
you
like
learn
two
and things
years
change.
ago, I have changed things. You can't be afraid to do that. You can't let the need to be correct or even fear of like being seen as weird or something like that hold you back. You got to be willing to run with
Absolutely.
it. And sitting and I love the fact that you reach out and try to talk to other people that are not necessarily of the liberty persuasion, because we're not going to change any hearts and minds just talking to each other.
Right.
Like, I hate the idea of the echo chamber. It serves no one. Sure, it's nice to come home to, smoke a joint, talk about fuck the
Right.
Fed and all that shit. It's nice. But you got to go out, roll up your sleeves and go out there and
Do
talk
the
to
work.
people who are different and do the work. Yes, exactly. So I'm glad to see other people doing that. And
Put
man,
in work, like
I
Michael P
put
says.
in work, like Michael P says. Yeah, you guys, y'all know that one. If you've been anywhere in our server or done any of our activism or anything, you've heard it. You gotta put in work. But God, I love that dude. He's totally cool. Um, but shout out, Michael. You're awesome. But thank you
He
very
is,
much,
man.
dude.
That guy's got so much fucking energy.
I I love Michael, and I mean, to be honest, like I am eternally grateful that you sent him our way, basically, kind of, or however that happened. Like, we met him through you, and he turned this whole place around and got us moving forward. And I mean, like,
Awesome.
I don't know how we would have, like, he kind of intimidated people at first because they were like, "Is this dude fucking with me?" And I'm like, "No, he's serious." And they're like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yes." And they were like, "Okay, well, let's do it then." Like, cuz he can be high energy and people are not used to that. They're not used to someone coming in and being like, "Okay, well, what are we going to do? How are we going to do it? When are we going to do it? How, like, okay, we decided that, let's do it now." And people are like, "Whoa, this guy he means business. I've got to do
Yeah.
something now." He helped us. Like, at first he was like, "Am I chasing people out? Should I calm down?" And I'm like, "No, you're just chasing out the people who don't want to do anything." And I don't care about them. Like, I mean, obviously I care about human beings in general, but in an activist situation where we're trying to actually do shit,
Right.
I don't care about the people who aren't going to do anything. This is not a social hour. If you want to be in the social hour, go out in the general chats with everybody else.
Right. We're
But
here to work.
yeah, we're here to work. We're here to do the shit. Push the fucking rock up, the giant rock up the giant hill. And hopefully it doesn't roll back over us like a cartoon. But dude, I gotta thank you for coming and chatting with us and talking about this. And I'm gonna use it and share it around and encourage people. And I know that there are boys out there pushing that flyer like crazy. And now I can just like when they're like, "What does he mean?" I can just be like, "Here you go," and just hand them this, and they can. Honestly, if they just watch the first like 15 minutes of it, they already know what's going on. So that's excellent. Are you gonna put out any like short videos or anything on this sort of thing? If you do, make sure you like make sure I get them so I can pass them around everywhere because
All right.
I want to try and I'm gonna harass my Texas friends about this because I still have a bunch of them. Be like, look, y'all are all
Awesome.
unhappy. Go over there and see this dude. Ask him about his hat. But
And hopefully
anyways,
I'll
like
have some hats for sale there too. So if you want to get one, go by and pick it up.
heck yeah, he's got a bunch of really nice, like really nice stuff to get. To be honest, like really good quality stuff. So you guys check out his store, help him help fund the Liberty as it goes. And obviously, like we're gonna keep an eye out for these other projects that he's got. I wrote them down. I made a list, like Santa Claus. We're gonna be keeping an
I'm
eye
gonna
out for those and
I'm gonna
stuff.
send you my zinc link too, so you can follow me on there.
Yeah, send me that. That sounds kind of like something I heard of something we use Linktree, but it's not the same. The way you described it is not the same. So I'm curious and want to see it. Um like at first that's what I was thinking about, but then you kept going. I was like, well, I don't know. I want to see this. So definitely send it to me and I'll pop it in the description too so people can look at it. And see what it's like and everything. Keep in
Sweet.
contact. Don't be a fucking stranger. I I love having you on. I'm not gonna lie. Like I would have you on like every week if you had time, but I know you got to do things. I try not to bother you too much.
Bother me
But
anytime, man. I'll be back in a couple weeks, maybe after the after we do this
yeah,
tour.
like honestly, like I would love to hear about how the tour went and share it with people. Oh no, giant cats in my way. Hey, sir, look, we're trying to do something here. We're trying to. Oh no, look at what he did.
No, kitty, this is my pot pie.
Gosh darn it, cat.
Did I just date myself with like which
Uh,
season of South Park I'm quoting?
I think you might have, but it's okay. I'm not super like everybody thinks I'm really young, and then I'm like, dude, I'm 38, and they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah. I date myself all the time, but because they're also young, they don't actually know you're dating yourself. So, I mean, like, if you don't
They're
announce
just
it,
like,
they
I
don't
didn't get
pick
the
up on it.
reference.
Yeah, they're like,
Yeah.
I don't understand what's happening. I've made people watch so many movies over the past couple of years, but I'm gonna let
Nice.
you go. Well, I mean, I guess I have to fucking. Oh wait, I almost forgot. If you guys like this stuff, if you have any extra questions, if you have any comments or anything like that, or I mean, even if you hate us, you can get down into our comments and hit us up in our social media and stuff like that. And honestly, I hate when people are doing stuff to ask you guys for support and stuff like that. So do try to support Dan. If you have anything left over, you can toss it at our subscribe star or whatever because it helps us keep the internet presence going. And everything that's left, we put into the LiberTEA fund, and we use that to literally help people do things. Like if they're making care packages, we toss money into that. If they're trying to get a caravan to go support somebody else's thing, like a protest or a rally or something. We try to help them do that, like all sorts of different things. Bail funds, because civil disobedience is not cheap, and everybody has a bail fund. Like in the like I'm sure that's really odd for like Democrats or Republicans or something, but you're talking about libertarians. You're like bail funds. We got bail funds here and stuff like that because
Well, hey,
we
that's what the
will.
Democrats did with their riots, except they just had their billionaire elitists that set up the funds for all the rioters to throw Molotov cocktails.
Yeah, we don't have the billionaire elitists. That stuff takes a village and stuff like that. And we do have our new we do have our store updated with new t-shirts and all of these designs that you guys see here, they come in all these different formats and everything. So if you like this stuff and you want to get a little bit of something back by giving us something, get a t-shirt. Hate Nazis with us. Be queer and ready to boog. Support cop watching, whatever it is, you guys get over there and check out that stuff. I for one prefer the fuck the police shirt on the beach background because it's just so chill. It feels very SoCal, and I went to high school in SoCal for a little while, and it was just nice, and it just kind of reminds me of the stuff they do there. Um, anyways, we really appreciate it. And if you guys don't have any money but you do want to help, um obviously if you're in the area, hit up Dan and volunteer with him. I'm sure he could use all the help he can get. If you're not in the Texas area, you guys can hit us up. We need all sorts of help online. We need people on the streets doing like recording their audits, cop watching, recording like acts of civil disobedience as they're happening, going to protests and covering that stuff, because the mainstream media cannot be trusted. They exist to turn us against each other and to sell us whatever will make us hate click the most. So help us do that more. We need people here helping us with our online communities. We need graphics people. We need all sorts of shit. If you don't know if you want to help and you don't know how to help or how you can help, or even if you can help, hit me up anyways, because we'll sit down and talk, and I can guarantee you that I can find something that you're going to not just be able to do, but like doing. Because I don't just want you guys to work away to the bones. I want you to enjoy this stuff. So make sure that you guys hit us up and everything like that. We got a bunch of stuff going on this week. Tomorrow we're gonna have RGB, the Ross Gadsden boys, come in here and we're gonna live stream the podcast at 6 p.m., which is all boys from all over the place talking about stuff that's going on in the nation and giving our 2 cents on it. And I'll be there with that, obviously. I can't wait for that. That's going to be fun. And then on Thursday night, we're going to have Magnus come back, but but it's not just Magnus. We're gonna have some Antifa members come in and talk, and we're gonna ask them questions and get their opinions on things and see what's going on with them and everything. And we're gonna look past we're gonna get rid of the beer goggles that the media puts in front of us and see why and see what's going on with these people, because really that reaching across, like how we talked about earlier, you got to reach across and you got to talk to each other because we have more in common with each other than we think. And I think after this episode, you guys will feel definitely the same if you don't already. So don't miss that. And then on Friday night, we're having somebody come in to talk about and explain the Red Hoods, which is an awesome Liberty NPO that is brand new and getting up and going. And I'm really excited about the stuff that they want to do. And we're gonna have her come. We're gonna have someone. We're gonna have her come in and talk about it and probably give a little bit of her coming to liberty story and stuff, because I always bug people for that. I love that story. But and have her break it down and how you guys can help them out and everything like that and what they've got coming up. So we got a busy week ahead of us. So you guys be prepared to spend some time with us in the evenings. I think it's gonna be good. Um until then, you guys stay safe. You guys stay free. Please, 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 whatever you do, don't sacrifice that freedom for safety. Anytime you have to do that, it's bullshit. It's a delusion. Don't do it. We'll see you guys soon. This episode of Mad Liberty Time is fucking adjourned.